Welcome to the Balanced Hustle podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Sherman, fitness coach for burnt out perfectionist. If you're ready to break free from overwhelm, simplify your nutrition, and make fitness finally work for you instead of against you, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into easy strategies to balance your health with your busy life. Let's hustle for balance, not burnout. Grab a seat and let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the podcast that I was supposed to record like a week ago. But here we are. I'm back. I got a little bit busy getting ready for Black Friday. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I'm not going to pitch here, but you'd see that I'm opening Black Friday offers, 3 Black Friday offers next week. So I've been getting ready for that. And then just also trying to adjust to the darkness, the darkness in the world around us. It being dark at 5 p.m. is really not for me. And I had every intention. A couple episodes ago, I recorded about being in your winter arc and like taking this time, even though it's dark out, to really grind and dig deep. And I still very much believe in that, and I very much still am absorbing that energy and trying to embody that energy and really enjoying it, but at the same time the darkness hit me a little harder than I thought it would. So anyway, here we are, finally back to recording an episode. And I think it's only been, I took a week off, I believe. I just took a week off. But I realized that I needed to record an episode when I was at a vision board night this weekend. And of course I'd been knowing I had to record an episode, but I was at a vision board night that I had put on at our local ice cream shop. I've been doing workouts there, live workouts. So they're only live workouts that I do. Everything else is online. And I decided to do a vision board making party there. And one of my best friends came to the party, and she had to drive half an hour home afterwards. And this was like at 8 o'clock. And, afterwards she was like, I'm just not feeling like driving home. It's dark. It's kind of a little bit of a longer drive. I mean, not too far, but far enough at 8 at night when it's dark. And I go, you should put on a podcast or, to pass the time, because I am always listening to podcasts as I'm driving. I hardly ever listen to the radio anymore. Honestly, I can't stand listening to the radio. They play the same songs over and over and over again, and I just can't do it. I can't do it anymore. So when I'm driving, I'm usually listening to a podcast. I have a few of my favorite podcasts that I'm always listening to, and I'm always checking, sometimes I'm checking every day, did they upload? So I need to find a few more for in between when my favorites haven't uploaded yet. So if you have some, let me know. But long story short, or short story long in this case, so I said, hey, you should listen to a podcast on the way home, pass the time, make it a little less, lonely driving in the dark. And she goes, I would, but my favorite podcast host hasn't uploaded in a week. And I definitely did not get what she was talking about at first. And I know that she's listening to this, so shout out Elizabeth. If you're listening to this, I'm talking about you already. But I didn't catch on at first. And then I realized I have a podcast and she's talking about me. I'm still not used to being a podcaster yet. So shout out to Elizabeth. I'm recording this one for you. I did not forget about you. And we're back to our regular schedule. So typically I try to record on Tuesday nights. Tonight's a Wednesday night. It doesn't have to, I'm not very strict with myself about this every week. I try to get one out Tuesday, Wednesday in the beginning of the week. And that is my goal. I'm not super strict on an exact time. Let me know if you listen to podcasts if you pay attention to exactly when they upload, or if you're just kind of like checking in here and there. Let me know if that's important to you. I can try to prioritize that a little bit more. But anyway, so I figured I'd record. And if you follow me on Instagram and you saw my story last night, I was talking about how I've been in kind of a rut lately myself, fitness-wise, with my own fitness. Oh, and my dog just brought me one of my sneakers. Perfect. Also, I didn't mention, I am recording this in bed. I'm all cozy in bed. Number one, because it has been dark for like 3 hours now. It's like 8:30, and I wanted to be cozy. So the dogs are with me. Now one dog has a sneaker that she's just resting her head on. The dogs are with me curled up, but I'm recording this in bed also because my husband is shooting zombies, killing zombies in the other room. He's playing video games with a friend. So I'm hoping that this is one of those nights where he's going to play for a couple hours so that I don't feel rushed to get this up. But sometimes he's like needs to be in bed by like 8:30. I never know. But anyway, so back on topic. I posted on Instagram yesterday on my stories about how I was in a little bit of a fitness rut and just talking about that a little bit. And I actually saved that to my highlights also, and I titled that Real Talk. So if you're looking to go read what I posted, that's still up there even though it's not on my story anymore. But just talking about how I've been in a little bit of a fitness rut lately. I haven't been feeling as confident with my own body, as comfortable in my own body, and haven't been as inspired in my workout routine lately as I'd like to be, nor as consistent as I'd like to be. And not only with working out, but with drinking enough water, eating enough protein, watching what I'm eating. I've been kind of falling off track lately myself. And I've been showing up here and there for workouts, and I haven't, completely ditched anything. I've still been drinking water. Now, if we compare this to like my baseline from 2 years ago when I used to drink 0 water throughout the day, I swear I could go a whole week and I would drink like 20 ounces of water in a whole week. So my baseline is much higher than it used to be. My what I call my kind of rut or slacking right now is much higher than it used to be. And I always like to think about that is that we're always continuing to just raise our baseline. So even when we have off days, it's like, or if we skip a workout, but you're working out 4 days a week versus 0 days a week, it's like, okay, I just raised my baseline to like 3 workouts. It's not that big of a deal. So I do like to take that into consideration, but nevertheless, I'm not as inspired and, as happy as I want to be in that area at the moment. So I just wanted to share that because I've noticed a couple other people that I've seen share things like that lately I really connected with, and I felt that if I shared my truth and how I've been feeling honestly lately, that hopefully somebody else could benefit from connecting with my story as well. And I always want to be honest and put honesty out there. So it can be hard as a coach because I feel like as a fitness coach especially, a lot of the time we feel like our routines and our bodies are our resumes, right? Because we want to be the person that other people look up to and that want advice from and that feel like we have it all together, right? Just some more honesty there for you, right? So anytime that I've fallen off track, I always feel like I am not living or practicing what I preach, and I hate that feeling, especially as a coach. But I've come to realize that nobody gets to escape that feeling. Whether you are a professional athlete, nobody gets to escape that feeling of being in a rut. And, I'm from New York, so we're big Bills fans around here, right? And I'm not very into football. Honestly, I watch a football game, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. But I come from, or my in-laws and my husband are big Buffalo Bills fans, right? So I say that I'm a Bills fan by marriage. So when we talk about professional athletes, one of the names that comes up is Josh Allen, because not that I really know what he does very well, but he's like a household name, right? So do you think that like Josh Allen is always perfect and stellar and everything he does is, top notch 100%? No. And it's the same for fitness coaches. It's the same if you are, if you're a teacher, if you're an algebra teacher, maybe you mess up in front of the class, or maybe there's a concept that you have trouble with yourself, but that doesn't mean that you can't teach others these things. And I think it makes you more relatable too as a person, just to admit your own flaws and your own mistakes, and when you are having those times of your own. So I wanted to put that out there and just be honest and just say, hey, we don't get to escape this either. And that was a really hard truth for me to accept when I became a coach, because I instantly thought like, I just have to be perfect now. I just have to show up, 5-6 days a week for all my workouts and be that role model. And to be honest, that's never going to happen. Nobody achieves perfection all of the time. It's just impossible. So it took me a long time to come to terms with that, and it still is hard sometimes, but nevertheless, that's a stage that I'm at in my life right now, and I'm carrying a little more body fat than I'd like to be carrying, and that is okay. I'm a little bored with my workouts right now. That is okay. I'm just going to change it up, and I'm going to continue to keep working at it, because that is just how we stay in this game, right? So after being in fitness, I've been, working out, working out consistently. I've had times where I've had off months and, things like that. Had times where I've gone 6 months at a time, not really being in the gym. But after being in this game for 10 years, that is just something that you realize is that just happens. That's just, the longer you're in this game, the more likely that it is that you're going to fall into ruts sometimes. You're going to become uninspired, and that's okay, right? So pushing forward is the goal, and how we keep progressing. So I always like to say that if you have an all or nothing mentality, most of the time that just means nothing, because it's so rare that you're going to be doing all of the time. So I like to have that kind of something, a little bit here and there, or nothing. It's never an all or nothing. So I am kind of readjusting my routine. Now, I've been doing the same thing for quite a while. So just looking at that and being objective about that is how I just come to terms with the fact that it's time to change things up, right? So if you are in a rut yourself, it can be hard at first to take the emotion out of it, because my first thought was, I'm not trying as hard as I should be. I'm falling, out of passion with some of these lifts that I'm doing and some of the exercise that I'm doing, and I'm just not enjoying it as much anymore. And it can be easy to start getting emotional about it and say, I'm gaining, I've got some more body fat than I'd like to. My progress pictures aren't really changing, something like that. It's my fault. I'm not trying hard enough. I don't care about my body as much as I should. I've been slacking. It's really easy to say those things, but what we need to do when we're in ruts like this, and I'm hoping if you are in a rut like I've been in, that this helps you, is to get objective about the situation. And that is one of the reasons why it can be so beneficial to have a coach. And this is not a pitch for coaching. What I'm saying here is that coaches are really good at helping their clients through the situations that they are in and the ruts that they get stuck in and the, hills that they have to climb, because they can be objective about it, because they don't have the emotion in it that the client does. And of course, that's on top of perhaps more education than the client has on certain nutrition and fitness topics. All of that comes into play. But a major factor is that we can be objective. So when I have a client that comes to me and they say, Lindsay, I'm just making up an example here. Lindsay, I am not gaining the muscle that I'd like to gain. And I say, okay, what kind of routine have you been doing? And they say, well, I've been doing, mostly cardio. I've been biking a lot, eating a low calorie diet, and I lift like once or twice a week. They say something like that. I can say, okay, objectively, it looks like we might want to up the lifts per week, whether we up the frequency, up the intensity. Are we pushing ourselves in the weights that we are lifting? Are we challenging ourselves? What rep ranges are we working in? Are you doing 15 to 20 reps per exercise? Or are you doing 5 to 6? Those things matter when it comes to looking at if we're trying to build strength, if we're trying to have a more muscular look. All kinds of things come into play here. Okay, let's look at your diet. You're eating a low calorie diet. Great. Maybe you've reached a point where you're at a low body fat and you're feeling good about that, but you've acknowledged that you want to build some muscle. So are we eating enough protein? Do we need to up these calories? Do we need some more nutrition support in this area? Some more energy, some more carbs? What do we need to look at? That is what being objective is like. And it can be hard when you are in that role yourself. And it's hard for me as well. Even though I do this with my clients all the time, when it comes to my own personal fitness journey, I have a hard time being objective for myself as well. But as a coach, when you're being objective, you can say, what are all of these factors that we need to look at? Let's start with a couple. Let's add this in. Let's do this for this amount of time. Let's see what happens. Let's look at the data. Let's look at the progress pictures. Look at the your weight loss or weight gain. Let's just, look at the variables. And very calmly, we can decide how things are moving, if we need to make adjustments, maybe what was holding us back. We can objectively look at things versus that emotional reaction that you have when you are the person in that client seat or in that seat where you are in a rut, and it's just hard to dig through everything when you also have your emotions involved and kind of mixing all together, if that makes sense. Hopefully that's making sense to somebody and I didn't just ramble on. But it can be really, really hard when you have those emotions mixing in. And for example, you can start a new workout program and the first day rocks. Woohoo, great, it went awesome. The second day feels awful, it feels terrible, you want to quit. Then your emotions start kicking in, right? Now, when you look at that objectively, instead of saying, I suck, the first day was a fluke, I can't do this, it was too hard, I'm too weak, we can objectively look at it and say, it's only day 2. The first day went great, day 2 went not so great. Let's try day 3 and see how that goes. We need some time to settle into this. That's being a little bit more objective about things. It can be really hard to separate. And again, even for myself, it can be really hard to separate. So when I looked at how I was feeling in this rut, and I'm still in it. I'm not saying I'm out of it. But when I looked at it and I said, I'm feeling unmotivated, I'm feeling kind of bored, I looked at it and I said, okay, Lindsay, what were the factors that played into this? Well, number one, I got pretty sick. Now this was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, but I got pretty sick. And I don't know where it came from. I think it came from an allergic reaction to dust and maybe some other things in this house that we are remodeling that we've invested in. And I've got terrible allergies. And I know if you follow me, I was out for a little bit. When I came back, my voice was, I couldn't talk for a few days. I got sick. Now, ever since then, I've been in kind of a rut. What happened was I got sick, I rested, I did what I needed to do, and then I lost my momentum, and it was hard for me to come back. Even being somebody that has been in fitness consistently for 10 years, over 10 years now, I think, even with that being the case. So I just had to be objective, and I said, okay, you got sick. And then what happened after I got sick? Conveniently, my knee, I have a bad knee that I've been dealing with ever since I was about 13, and it's a long story that I won't bore you with. But anyway, I have a bad knee that acts up every now and then. It's usually, for the most part, been pretty good. I just have to be careful. If I, for example, went on a run and kind of went all out, I might be a little sore for a couple days. I just have to be careful when I ease into new things. And for a long time, it's been feeling pretty good. Well, out of nowhere, it buckled out from underneath me while I was walking across the yard. It would be a few weekends ago now, right after I was sick. Buckled out from under me, and it has not been the same ever since. And I've been struggling with that. And I don't know if it's related to my old knee problem. I thought maybe I had a sprain. Still not really sure. Feeling a little bit better now. It's feeling pretty normal now, but the weird thing about it is it acts up randomly, it feels like, which is very frustrating. So it feels pretty normal now, except for when I go back into lifting. So if I go into squatting, lunges, that type of stuff is really bothering it at the moment. And what was I working on before this all happened? Deepening my squat and getting better squat form, a deeper squat. I worked on squatting quite a bit in the last year, but I realized that I wanted to focus on getting more range of motion and more depth. So I dropped the weight. I started working deeper into that squat. And conveniently, a knee problem is not the best for that type of movement. Now, of course, there's always modifications, other movements you can do with knee issues. I do this with my clients all the time, just making adjustments. But that was discouraging, right? And I haven't been squatting, so I stopped kind of squatting. I modified leg day, and that kind of became a snowball effect throughout the rest of my routine, right? Because even though I said not to do it, not to have that all or nothing 100% perfectionist mentality, I'm not saying that I don't still live that myself from time to time. So we started slipping. So anyway, back to kind of that emotional versus objective thinking, I could beat myself up all day, right? That I got out of routine, that my knee is acting up, and that I did something wrong. And, I can beat myself up all day, but the best way that I found to get out of things like this and ruts like this is to be objective. And what I say to myself instead is, Lindsay, you got sick, you got out of routine, and then right when you were starting to get back into routine, you had a knee issue. And you're still dealing with that knee issue, and things just don't feel good like they did a month ago. And that is okay. But what can we do to move forward and readjust, continue the path that we're on, maybe in a different way that's just more conducive to what we're dealing with at the moment. So the objective thinking is really important. And I shared another thing on Instagram the other day that I saw on someone else's page, and it was, I'm not going to quote it directly because I don't think I have it up here anymore, but it was saying that when you type your destination into Google Maps and you take a wrong turn, which I always do. I am a terrible co-pilot. Like, if you ask me to watch Google Maps for you, you will miss 3 turns. And what I will do now is I just won't say anything. I'm not telling you missed a turn, because my husband will turn around and go back and hit that turn. And I don't like that. I don't want to turn around, okay? I don't like going back and like doing things over again and turning around. I don't want him trying to turn around in a bad spot, so I just don't say anything. And then I usually miss the next one if I'm talking, and then we'll hit like the third one, right? But the point is, the third turn, that Google Maps, it always like just keeps readjusting. And that's the point, is that Google Maps, and this is coming from what I read on Instagram, not something I came up with, but the point is that Google Maps doesn't yell at you and say like, oh, you're taking a wrong turn, or you missed your turn, you messed up, and, turn around, go back. Google Maps doesn't do that. It just finds a new way. It just redirects you. And sometimes it's like, 2 minutes slower, there's plenty of ways to get there. And sometimes when I've missed turns and made mistakes, I found a whole bunch of new ways to get to places that I still take to this day, because I'm like, I actually enjoy this route. What do you say? Route? I think I say route. I enjoy this route way more is what I was trying to say. So you might find another route that you actually like more. And the point is, Google Maps is just going to redirect you. It's not going to worry about it. It's just being objective, right? It's got no emotions in this game. It doesn't care whether you get to grandma's house 5 minutes late, whether you get to grandma's house the way that it told you to get to grandma's house. If you're Google mapping grandma's house, okay, I have to Google map my one grandma's house, because I still haven't figured that one out. She lives like 45 minutes away. I still haven't figured out. Sorry, Grandma, if you're listening. I don't think that she does, but if you do, we'll talk about that later. But I always have to Google map her house. But anyway, what was I saying? It doesn't care if you get to Grandma's house 5 minutes late, right? All that it does is it looks at the details objectively and says, you missed your turn. We'll just take the next one. There's another way to get there. It's going to be 2 minutes slower. Objectively, that's the truth. It's going to be 2 minutes slower, but you're still going to get there. So I really liked that line of thinking that I saw. And so what I wanted to do on this podcast, and I'm already 30 minutes in, but I think I still have a little bit of time, is to share some ways that we can kind of redirect and get yourself out of this rut if you are in one, and some things that I'll be trying, and just some ideas for you. So number 1 is switch things up. So my voice cracked there, switch things up. So that's something that I'm going to be doing, especially with my knee problem, is just switching things up. So if you are getting bored with workouts, maybe you haven't worked out in a long time, but you didn't really like the last thing you were doing, or maybe you did, maybe you loved it, but you're not feeling like that's where you want to start right now, totally cool to just switch things up. So try a new workout style, yoga, Pilates, strength training, even dance classes, running, walking, biking. There's so many things out there that you can do. If you don't have a gym membership, even like bikes, depending on where you live, like if you, for example, want to get into biking, stationary bikes on Facebook Marketplace are like $50. So it doesn't have to be a huge investment. That's less than a pair of sneakers. So switching things up can really help. Setting a new goal. So focusing on something exciting, like training for a race, maybe 5K. My friend just ran Elizabeth, who I was just talking about. Hey, I'm talking about you again. Just ran a half marathon. That was really inspiring to me. I don't know if she's convinced me to get into running yet, especially with my knee. I was actually thinking about it. Don't get too excited, Elizabeth. I was thinking about it, this past week, because I'm like, I need just like a challenge that I can do. And then I remembered that I have a knee problem right now. So maybe we'll table that. But just finding a new goal to focus on, signing up for something like a race, and just saying you're going to show up to it, no matter where you're at in your training. By the time that comes around, something like that can be a really good way to just shake things up. If you've had a goal that you even haven't hit yet, it can feel hard. It can feel like you're failing to pick a new goal, right? So say like you're a lifter and you have a goal of bench pressing a certain weight. But you are totally burnt out on lifting. You're not inspired. You don't feel like showing up to the gym. You're tired of bench pressing. You can set a new goal. It's okay. I will allow it. There are some things that I don't allow, but I will allow that. And by things I don't allow, I'm not even thinking of anything fitness related. Something that just popped into my head was like eggnog and cottage cheese. Like, I will not allow those things. And I saw someone post the same exact thing on their Instagram story the other day. So I promise I'm not copying you. But when they posted that, I was like, that is so true. Like, I always tell my husband, number one, I cannot handle eggnog. And number two, I don't know how anyone can handle cottage cheese. And I've tried eggnog. I don't think I've tried cottage cheese, which sounds weird coming from a former dairy princess, but it's just like a texture. I'm a big texture person. I think it's a texture thing. It's been on my mind a lot lately. Cottage cheese has. I don't know. I feel like I started thinking about it and I see it everywhere now. So some things I will not allow. But I will allow you to set a new goal without reaching your old goal. And I will not call it giving up. I will not call it failing. It's just redirecting. And honestly, I don't want you to just keep bench pressing all day long if you aren't inspired by that goal, okay? It doesn't mean you can't come back and revisit that, and you'll probably have greater success if you do take a break and come back because you won't be burnt out on it. It doesn't mean you're giving up on that. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean you're not trying hard enough. Like those people you see online and they're like, you can't give up. You have to always be putting in 100 hours a week and you need to hustle and grind and blah, blah, blah. Okay, but this is your life. So if you want to set a new goal and change it up for yourself and maybe revisit the old one later, or you can ditch it entirely. You don't have to be married to this goal. Even if you are married to this goal, you can divorce it. Divorce is an option. It's not the most fun option, but it's there. It's an option, and you can go have a party a new singles party with your new goal, okay? So that's allowed. So try setting a new goal. Let's see, other things that you could do, looking at my notes here. Work with a coach or a program. Obviously, I have to say that I'm a coach, but it's true. Every time that I've worked with somebody, whether it be, I've mentioned this before, a fitness coach. I did work with a fitness coach last year. I worked with a business coach this year also. Always has re-inspired me, always has re-motivated me. And I'm not just saying that again because I am a coach and I sell coaching. It just is proven to work, to just kind of be that boost that you need, accountability, maybe give you a new perspective on things, show you some new things that you haven't tried yet. That is always a good option. Along with that is like group classes and things of that nature. So if you have a gym membership, checking out some of their classes that you haven't tried yet. Even if you don't have a gym membership, a lot of gyms will give you day passes, or you can just pay per class. Not every gym will do that, so definitely look into that, or call ahead before you just show up at the door. Especially if you just don't want to waste your time. But yeah, so try a class. I just said like 50 times. I am so sorry. Try a class, try something new, get in a group of people, get re-motivated, re-energized. Things like that are always great. Even just signing up for a race. I did that again. I should really, if I was a good editor, I would cut out all these ums. But I'm going to keep pushing forward because I'm at 36 minutes now. So what I'll say is just signing up, getting in a group, getting out of your comfort zone, just trying something just to try it. Not even expecting to go in there and make it the best thing you've ever done. I have this mentality sometimes where I'm like, okay, if I'm going to go to a yoga class, I'm going to become a yogi now, and I'm going to be so good at yoga, and I'm going to go to yoga 5 times a week, and I'm going to be the most flexible person in that class. Just try the class just to try the class. You don't have to enjoy it. I went to Zumba one time. I was awful. I struggled through that whole thing. It was not a good workout for me. It was not, I don't think, because maybe mentally, because I was just trying to follow along so much that I didn't feel like I was really even moving my feet that much, because I was just like in awe of trying to watch and trying to see what I was supposed to be doing. That, of course, it wasn't like, oh, I went and got the best workout of my life I could have gotten. And I didn't beat myself up about it. I didn't say like, oh, Lindsay, you should have been working out in the weight room for 40 minutes instead, or something like that. No, it was just fun to go. It was fun to have that experience, to not be good at something, to change things up. So don't hesitate to try something new like that if you are in a rut. Let's see, other things that you could do. Well, first of all, more like fourth of all, is just listen to your body. So if you do need a break, take a break. 1 or 2 weeks off is not going to kill your whole progress that you've built, especially if you've been working out for years, been working on yourself for a long time. It's not going to affect you that much. It might be harder to get back into some things, but it's really not that big of a deal. So if you do need a break, if you have other things going on, just listen to your body, listen to your mind, take a reset. You could even, if you've been lifting, I like to use lifting as an example because I think everybody should be lifting, no matter what you're training for. I love to have a little bit of lifting in there. Even if you are lifting, taking a week to just do yoga. You don't have to lift at all. Just take a week or 2, do some yoga, recover, then get back into it. That is totally okay. That could serve as a little reset for you. So, those are some ideas that I had for you. I'm just looking at my notes here to see if I had anything else. Yes, I think that is all that I had. So, hopefully this resonated with you. Hopefully you could pick up some things from this and focus on what you can do instead of maybe where you feel like you've fallen short lately or where you felt unmotivated lately. Maybe you are in a really good routine. You're feeling completely motivated right now and you just want to save this away for a rainy day where you do hit this rut because, like I said, happens to us all. It's unavoidable. There's always going to be something that comes up that, you know, can kind of interfere with our routines. But just having this in mind can really help you prepare for these moments and just push through them a little bit easier. And again, your routine is not always going to be perfect. So, for example, I think a lot of us, we see kind of like the it girl, right, online, and she's waking up at 4 a.m. every day, and she's journaling, and she's working out, and then we say, I need to be the person that works out every single morning at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever, and I need to journal every single day, and that's going to be my routine for like the rest of my life, and I'm going to be that girl that's always waking up in the morning and working out, or something like that. Well, guess what? I've had times where I will work out in the morning for a month, and then the next month I will be in a night workout routine, and I will just be feeling night workouts, and I'm like, yes, these are the greatest workouts I've ever had. Why did I ever work out in the morning? You know, night workouts are the best. And then the next month I'm back into morning workouts, and I feel that desire too, to have this perfect routine that we stick to all the time. And again, the sooner that you accept that things can ebb and flow and change, the sooner you will be successful in reaching your goals and staying consistent in fitness with nutrition. Because who cares if 1 month I do morning workouts and the next month I have kick butt workouts at night? Well, guess what? I'm working out consistently. So why does my routine have to always be the same and stay perfect, right? That is totally okay. Now, I wouldn't want to change it like every single day. I like to have some consistency. Usually I try to stick with the same thing for, 4 to 6 weeks, just kind of see those changes. But again, it's not perfect. I might try something for 2 weeks and really hate it, and I gave it a shot and I want to try something else. I might try working out after dinner or before dinner when I get home, and I'm completely uninspired and I choose to go back to mornings within a week. That's okay. That's cool. So just again, recognizing the ebbs and flows of this lifestyle. And we always say it's a lifestyle. It's not something that we get to do for a week or a month or 2 months and we are like good, we're at our goal weight and we're going to stay at this goal weight forever and we are perfect now. It's something you want to carry through your whole life. Even when you are retired, I've seen, some of the most inspirational people I've seen at the gym are in their 80s, their 90s. Haven't met anyone in their hundreds yet at the gym, but very, very close, very close. I've had 90-year-olds in classes with me who I'm pretty sure were lifting more weight than I was. And it is just so inspiring, and recognizing that you are on this journey for life and rejoicing in the fact too that you have so much time because you are on this journey for life to try different things and to experience different things, to be that morning workout person, to be the night workout person, to be the yoga person, to be the weightlifting person, to be the person that does a little mix of everything, to be in your running era. You have this time and you have all of these options to adjust to your goals. So for me right now, I might not be in my deep squat phase of life, even though that's where I thought I wanted to be. I might be, because I want to shed a little bit of fat, back into a more cardio phase of my life. Now, you should always have cardio, just so you know, whether you are trying to gain muscle or lose weight. should always have a little bit of cardio. You won't lose all your muscle, trust me. But I might just be in a more cardio phase of my life. I might be in a phase of my life where I'm in different rep ranges and using different weights and different exercises. And that's where I'm at right now. And that's where I'm happy being right now to continue living this healthy lifestyle. So I hope that there's something that you can take from this episode. I'm so glad if you listened, if you made it through the whole episode. Please leave me a review, rate the podcast. It really helps me out. I really enjoy doing the podcast. I'm just so cozy right now in bed with the dogs. The dogs are both napping at my feet. They are out cold, and I just feel like I'm talking to my friends. Even though I'm just staring at my two dogs right now and my computer screen, I feel like I'm talking to my friends. And it reminds me of when I was younger. I always wanted to be a teacher, right? And I did think about becoming a teacher when I was in college. I went to school for animal science, like I've said before. And for a period of time, I wanted to be an ag teacher, teach agricultural classes on, plants and animals and how your food is grown and things like that. But I didn't go down that path. But anyway, when I was younger, I wanted to be a teacher for quite some time. And I would line up all my stuffed animals like on my bed. And I distinctly remember this. I had in a notebook the roster, the class roster with all my stuffed animals' names, and I would check them off like I was taking attendance. And what I don't remember is like the notes I would write. I know I wrote like notes. I don't know if I was giving them imaginary grades or something, but I distinctly remember I had like all of my stuffed animals' names on a roster, and I pretended that I was like teaching to them, like the class. So this is somewhat similar, I suppose. But I've always, enjoyed kind of this teaching aspect. But this is more fun, I think, because it's more like I'm just at this point like having a slumber party with my best friend. So like sitting here in bed, talking to you, and I really like that. I really like that it's really personal, and I get to obviously have a little bit more longer form content than I typically do on Instagram. So that's really fun for me, instead of having 60, 90-second videos, quick videos. Sometimes, they're like 15, 20 seconds to share something with you. This is a really fun way to talk to you. So I'm glad that you're here. Again, leave me a comment, leave me a review. It would make my day. It would really help the podcast out. And I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.